Hello, welcome. This is the Resilient Rooster. I'm back with another Yu-Gi-Oh video, and today I'm going to be showcasing the Elemental Sabers. So Elemental Saber is going to be coming out in Flame of Destruction. Most of these cards should be legal by the time that the booster is set. The only thing that may not get released anytime soon is maybe the Topologic Gamble Dragon. This one might come out in Battle Steel Legends, who knows. And the Summer Sorcerer is a card that probably is a promo, which I'm not sure when it will come out. For the most part, all these cards should be legal. The Elemental Saber is an archetype based on the typings. They all have different typings like light, water, wind, dark, earth, etc. And the goal of this deck is basically to fill up your graveyard. That way you can summon your elemental lords and try to slow down your opponent a lot. The Force Rage, the elemental lord, has a good effect in destroying all your opponent's monster cards. Moulin Glacia basically hurts your opponent's hand, and the Wind Rose basically destroys the back row. And Elemental Willard basically has that effect where if you destroy two cards or like tribute two cards of different typings, you get some immunities. Elemental Saber Molio basically is a Book of Moon. The Lapu Yuli is basically spell and trap negation. The Nalu basically gets a card from your graveyard. The Makini is basically your search card, and your Aina is basically the card that revives cards from the graveyard. So this is my deck list right now. Feel free to make any changes, and let's get right into the replays. The Elemental Saber has a lot of cool strong cards, but one of the main restriction is you can't really go to your next battle phase. So it slows down the deck a lot, but if you go second, it sort of mitigates some of those things, since you don't really skip your next battle phase since there might be no second turn, right? In this case, I was able to have the field spell, which basically helps you go off. The field spell is a cool card. It basically lets you send cards from your deck instead of your hand, which helps this deck out a lot. And I feel like running the bamboo engine for this deck helps a lot too, since you're able to get so much advantage. I was able to recover some of the hands that I lost, and I was able to get a lot of monsters on board too. And you always want to get a lot of monsters on board, that way you can make all your cards in your graveyard certain types. And here I hand ripped my opponent. They had no cards in their hand, so I was able to just OTK my opponent. The only problem of going second though is your opponent can establish a board, and if their board is too big, it might be hard to play through that. So in this example, I had a pretty decent hand. I had 2 Cursed Bamboo Sword. That basically means that I can get rid of one of them to search my bamboo engine. So this is basically like a 2-card combo. All you need is 2 warrior cards, and all your Elemental Sabers are warriors, so it's easy to make your Isolde. And your Isolde basically sends your equip cards to the graveyard. That way you basically have access to all your bamboo cards. So I was able to basically fix my hand. I'm able to draw 4 cards if nothing goes wrong. So I was just going off. I made the Summon Sorcerer, that way I can reshuffle my deck, because I didn't want to draw the other equip card, the deep sword card. So I played around it, that way I'm able to make the Skull Dread, draw multiple cards, and I was able to get into the field spell. And the field spell helps this deck a lot, since you only need to send cards from your deck, not your hand. So you get way more advantage than normally you should. And this is the part where if you go second, then none of these restriction hurts you, since you're not skipping your next battle phase if all your opponent cards are gone, right? So here I was able to attack for game. This deck relies heavily on the field spell, so anytime you have it, you're in a great position. And that's why I feel the bamboo engine is necessary, because you need to draw cards to dig deep to find your field spell. And here I have the 2-card combo again. I got 2 warriors, and when you get 2 warriors, you get so much advantage with Isolde. You're able to get a bamboo card, you're able to get a monster card to add to your hand, and you get 1 to go on the field. You basically get 3 cards. And I was able to fix my hand, and I can draw 4 cards now thanks to the bamboo engine. And now if I can get another field spell, I would be even in a greater position. But right now I wasn't able to draw it, but I did get a lot of cards in the graveyard, which this is basically the same thing I did with Necros a while ago, where I was able to wipe my opponent's hand. They only have 2 cards during the end or during the beginning of their turn, and 2 cards can't really stop your board, since you're able to, if you have disruptions, you're able to at least slow them down a lot. You basically get a free turn, but the only problem is you can't battle this turn since you already used some of your cards. So my opponent has 1 more turn. If they don't have a board wipe, then it's pretty much good to go. In this next game, I was playing against Burning Abyss, and Burning Abyss is sort of like a hard matchup for this deck since a lot of the deck floats, and they also have the ability to go into Farfel, which basically banish your Elemental Lords, and whenever your Elemental Lords leaves the field, you basically skip your battle phase. So it could be like a continuous loop. So I would say this is probably one of the hardest matchups. I still try to make my plays. I didn't know they were playing Burning Abyss at that time, so I decided to go to Moonland Glacier still to snap the 2 cards and see what I can hit. So I changed my graveyard into water, that way I could summon the Glacier and snap 2 cards. And that's not probably the worst 2 cards since now they have access to the Phantom Knight Valkblade. The only thing that I have good for me though is my Elemental Saber Willard has the effect where they can't target me and they can't destroy me by card effects, I believe, or by battle. I'm not sure which one. So they were able to make the Cherubini, and they were able to at least get 1 Farfel on the board. But right now, the Farfel doesn't do much since I have the Willard on the field. So Willard is basically saving my life a little bit. And I forgot that during this turn, I can't go into my battle phase. So I sort of misplayed. I tried to summon my Windrose to destroy the back row, but I should have saved it until next turn. That way I'm able to destroy all their cards, since I wasn't able to attack for a game. And now they basically have access into making a Borolo Dragon. And Borolo Dragon is basically good to wipe out my Elemental Saber Willard. That way I can't protect myself from Farfa. So I was in like bad shape. And they also have the Monster Reborn, so just in case I get rid of the Borolo, they have another Monster Reborn. But my Lapu Yulia basically has a way to negate the Monster Reborn. So as long as I can get rid of the Borolo Dragon, I should be good to go. I figured out a way, and I was just going to attack over it since 3k is not as strong as 4k. Your Temple of the Elemental Lore has the effect where all monsters you control gain 200 attack and defense for every different attribute. So that's pretty cool. That 1200 boost is big because it can help you OTK in certain scenarios. Main phase 2, I tried to activate my Lord but I got Ash, but now I have a battle phase during my opponent's turn. My opponent used Monster Reborn, but I was able to negate it. And one thing I wanted to say about this deck, it's very resource management. If you don't have any Elemental Sabers in your deck, then your field spell is sort of useless, and you don't really have any disruption on your opponent's turn. My opponent, they made the Beatrice, but since I have like 5 monsters on the field, they couldn't really do much with 1 Beatrice. No matter what monsters they summon on the field, since they can't target my cards, I should be able to just attack for a game. They floated, but it's just not quite enough. They were trying to do the Seer and Dante loop, but this is not enough since I have 4 monsters left that can still attack. I would say one of the weaknesses of this deck, if you don't have the field spell, it's kind of hard, and also if they stop you from making the Isolde, then you're in a worse position. They were able to gamble my Willard, which basically is the card that lets me have 2 warrior monsters on board. So I was basically slowed down severely. And now that I have a clear board, they're able to basically just OTK. They were able to spam the board, and all of a sudden, I can't really do much. I don't run Battle Invaders, so as soon as they go to the battle phase, I don't have anything to stop them. That's it for the replays. If you enjoy it, please leave a like. If you want to see more Yu-Gi-Oh content, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.